what's happening now. Well, how do you word this? If you're a reporter on mainstream media, you would say mostly peaceful protests. That's what they have to say. If these protests were anything actually peaceful, they would just say peaceful protests. But because there's so much violence, they have to say mostly peaceful. Even they can't say they are totally peaceful protests. That's too much of a lie, even for them. The immigration protest, illegal immigration protest, deportation protests. ICE is rip-roaring. They are going after illegals in Los Angeles. And, of course, the wonderful people that think that having a sovereign nation with borders, all the crazy stuff that countries actually have, borders, laws, rules, regulations, they don't like this. They don't like that illegals who have streamed over this border in record numbers over the Biden administration are being thrown out of the country. Rounded up. Yes, rounded up. That's not a bad thing. They want rounded up to sound like it's a bad thing. No, this is great. We need this. We have way too much trouble and expense taking care of our own people that deserve to be taken care of, that have put in their time. And perhaps they are veterans with troubles, the elderly, the infirmed, the impoverished Americans, real Americans with real problems, not based on laziness. And they need help. And I don't think you'll find an American that wouldn't want those people helped first and foremost before what we're seeing these days. Just insanity. And there are people in Los Angeles rioting. I'm not going to say protesting. They are rioting. There's looting going on. They're burning property, arson, assault, looting, all the things you see happen when these wonderful people get together to protest law and order, because that's what they're doing. And the usual suspects are out there. Maxine Waters, she stepped up to a Los Angeles government building and got the door slammed in her face. It's one of the best clips this weekend, I think. And Gavin Newsom, I think, is MIA. We haven't really seen him. He hasn't shown up on camera. He's on social media occasionally. But you would think if this was happening in your state, you're the governor, you would be front and center taking care of this nonsense. But, it's Gavin Newsom. We all know this. Mayor Karen Bass, the wonderful mayor who allowed Los Angeles to burn. She's out there. And what is she saying? That everyone should hug an illegal and hide them in your own homes from the law enforcement that's trying to call them out, hold them accountable for their crimes. Yes, crimes. We saw this. We saw this back in 2020 with George Floyd, that whole debacle. And fortunately, this time around, people aren't taking it. You got Donald Trump. He's not taking this garbage. He's out there. He's making sure that the laws are enforced, that people aren't destroying property, injuring people. We've seen this. They're throwing rocks at law enforcement vehicles. They're protesting with Mexican flags. What? Why? If you want to be here because your country's so bad, why are you flying the flag of the country you left? Because none of it makes sense. They're either completely insane or they have this liberal agenda, which is just to completely screw over everything we cherish in America, every institution we have. So we're going to be talking about that a lot tonight. The number, if you want to call the show, 800-848-9222. Let's talk about that or any of the other insanity that's going on in this country these days, within the past week since I was last on, of course. So the Anthony Cumia Show will continue after this.
Talk Radio 77 WABC. Dominic Carter. Entertaining and informative.
Never forget our debt to the men and women in uniform. We certainly know what we owe to them. Their valor gave us the freest, greatest, and most noble republic ever to exist on the face of the earth. A republic doing so well.
Dominic Carter. Weeknights at midnight. Talk Radio 77 WABC. And holstering the second.
And again, we're asking, when do you cross the line?
It is indeed the Anthony Cumia Show. Welcome back. My God, another week. Another week. Full of absolute insanity. I don't know. Does it ever go the other way? Does it ever go where we go through a week and we say to ourselves, wow, that week was a little less mental than the previous one? I don't think so. It always just seems to escalate in insanity. You know, it's good for me, I guess, if I have to come on every week and discuss the topics of the week from our country and world. I guess it's good if everything gets a little crazier by the week. But, you'd think, just the odds, playing the odds, you'd think 1 week might be less insane than the previous one. But it just doesn't seem to work that way. Welcome. I do appreciate you tuning in. It is indeed the Anthony Cumia Show. We're here every Sunday, and it's very appreciated that you come and check us out. And let me just say hola and como esta to all the people in Los Angeles, because that just seems to be everybody. I don't know. Is it? Are there any people left that speak English? Interesting. Because I can't seem to see it. I tune into various forms of media, of course, mainstream. The most accurate of media. And I just see a bunch of people flying Mexican flags and, as they said in Animal House, and bad-mouthing the United States of America. And then when someone of any power, leadership, tries to do something about it, they are called the worst things possible. Racist. Just terrible people. Trump, a Nazi. Maybe you're a Nazi if you don't want all that happening in the United States of America. And a major, what is L.A.? Like, it's got to be number 2. New York is always number 1 when you go, biggest city in the United States. Ask anyone around the world. They go, New York City? You go, yes, imbecile. Yes, you're right. But I have to think L.A. would be second. Maybe Chicago? And L.A. is this just bastion of Mexican culture, if you want to call it that. A lot of violence. These street takeovers. Look, I'm from New York, and we do look at New York as a place that is just rife with crime. It is. What are you going to do? It's a big city. It's completely Democrat-run. The whole state of New York is Democrat-run. So, it's part and parcel. You're going to get crime. But I have never seen a street takeover in New York City. Every so often, a few years ago, and I'll tell you, I credit the NYPD with this. They've gotten rid of these scooter gangs. Oh, yeah, look out. We've had scooter gangs. Sounds like something the Little Rascals would do. But it was a bunch of people either of some foreign land or perhaps some impoverished projects. And they would have these little scooters and ride around in packs, just generally harassing everyone, driving on major thoroughfares and screwing up traffic. And the NYPD really put a stop to that. I don't know how they did it, but you don't see that happening anymore. But these street takeovers that are just unbelievably prevalent in Los Angeles and Oakland and San Francisco, San Diego to some extent. These things are happening. No one ever seems to want to put a stop to them. You don't see police showing up at these things. In the few videos I've seen where police did show up, they were scared away. The police were made to leave. And they do donuts. And if it's a great night, the rear quarter panel of one of the vehicles smashes into some obese person and flings them for tens of yards. And that's the part where I just start cackling and laughing like what they call a schoolgirl. So I do appreciate that. But you would think that law enforcement would put a stop to this stuff. Gavin Newsom doesn't seem to want to do anything about it. He's the governor of the state. I understand there are many cities in the state of California, Los Angeles being one of them, the largest of them. So maybe you could go, well, Gavin Newsom, he's very busy with Fresno, I guess. He's very busy with the likes of Bakersfield. So maybe L.A. is a little out of his jurisdiction. So then you'd think you could go to people like Maxine Waters, maybe? She's a congresswoman. She's in charge of, San Francisco. She's nothing. We get nothing out of her except love and adoration for illegal aliens that are doing nothing but screwing up the works. So then you got to think maybe we can go to the mayor, right? We go to the wonderful mayor, Karen Bass, who almost burnt down her entire city through incompetence and DEI appointments of fire department officials. And she's just saying the same thing. We'll get to some clips a little later in the show. But all of the people I just mentioned have done nothing about the unbelievable levels of crime, violence, assault, arson that is going on. And the second somebody wants actual law and order, and they go, well, the police, the Los Angeles police and sheriff's department, they don't seem up for the gig. And I don't even know if I can blame the LAPD. They have been just trounced like a beaten dog or an abused wife or they have, over the course of decades now, everything the LAPD has ever done to try to curtail the rising crime, gang violence in the city, they have paid for it with incarceration, with death, with zero praise. Zero praise. So I can almost understand how the LAPD doesn't even want to dip their toe in this new disaster, which is the mostly peaceful protests going on in LA as we speak, in support of immigrants. I think that's what they say, immigrants. Let me check the paper. Oh, illegal aliens. Ooh, they just never seem to want to say that. They say immigrants, people, not even citizens. They can't even bring themselves to say that they're people living in the city. But to all the people that I've talked about, the mayor, the governor, Congress people. They do not want to even mention that these people are here illegally. We need to get them out. And there's only one way to do it. The old, and I love it, round them up. Round them up. And get them out. That's the process. When they talk about due process, that's the due process for illegal aliens being here. The crime they've committed is crossing over the border illegally. They don't have to go through any kind of trial. Their due process is some official from this country, law enforcement, saying, hey, you don't belong here. And then I'm sure there's a ton of unnecessary paperwork, but you send them right back. You get them out. If they commit a crime here, then they're due their due process, where they have to then stand trial or make a deal, whatever it is, for the crimes they've committed after the initial crime of crossing into this country illegally. So they're all talking about, you see the protesters, rioters, and they're screaming about due process and, do you have a warrant? It's another thing that, to me, in my younger days, kids, let me tell you about Uncle Anthony in his younger days. When the internet first started up and we got giant computers with big cathode ray tube monitors that took up your entire desk, I gotta be honest, and it might be a little embarrassing. A lot of guys back then would peruse what was called internet porn. I'm not kidding. No, I'm not kidding. There were dirty movies, as we used to call them, on the internet. And that was what we would do to satisfy our horrid, disgusting lust. Now, for me, it's police body cam videos. Oh, yeah. That is my new porn. That is my new satisfaction, visual stimulation. And I can't get enough of it. And I watch this morning, noon, and night. It's fantastic. And what I've seen of late going on in Los Angeles, the rioting, it's not protesting. It's fantastic. You know why? Because they're sending in the National Guard and the police department and other law enforcement to back up the castrated Los Angeles Police Department. I feel bad. I feel bad for the LAPD. But these video clips I'm seeing, the tear gas, the paintball guns with the powder in it, the pepper powder, the concussion grenades. Oh, I'm shaking right now. I might have to take a shower during this commercial break before I come back, a cold shower, because just talking about this is getting me all worked up. The Anthony Cumia Show will return. We'll take your calls on this topic. And, back in moments. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Anthony Cumia Show Network.
Dominic Carter, City Hall.
Kevin Hassett, talk to me about addressing inflation. What's the right way?
Well, the wrong way, we learned from Jimmy Carter and Joe Biden, is to have the government spend recklessly and print money to cover the expenses. When that happens, you get inflation. Inflation really, really harms the country. And if you spend like crazy, then that's going to be a problem. What President Trump is doing is he, along with Elon Musk, have been leaders in finding the crazy things that we spend our money on and getting rid of them, and also working with Congress to have a reconciliation package, they call it, right, or a big budget deal, which is going to cut the heck out of spending, but also increase supply. So President Trump is really, really putting the pedal to the metal on supply, and he's cutting government spending as well, and that's going to get inflation under control.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And we are live. We don't tape it and send it in, kids. We are live right here on this beautiful Sunday evening. And we're talking about the situation in L.A., the riots. These are not protests. We've already seen the mainstream media. It is astounding how they just continue these same lies over and over and over again. We remember this in 2020. We remember this in 2020 with the George Floyd riots. And what did the mainstream media do? They sent some people out. The backdrop was literally a flaming fast food restaurant. And the reporter on scene was saying mostly peaceful protests, mostly peaceful. And they were called out for, in embarrassing fashion, called out for saying, are you insane? Are you calling arson, destruction, assaulting law officers mostly peaceful? There's literally a fire behind you. And they took that to heart, I guess, because here in 2025, they're saying the same thing, mostly peaceful. I've seen videos of a gang of protesters pouring a can of gasoline over a Jeep engine and lighting on a fire, almost blowing themselves up, which would have been a treat. But they're using the same lines. Like the left has not learned a thing. They've not listened to one word anyone has said about how embarrassing they are in how they react to situations like this. Let us speak with Paulie from Westwood. Paulie, what's up, man?
Anthony.
How you doing?
I used to listen to you years ago with Opie and Anthony.
Yes, back in the 30s. I remember pre-war.
I was more of a Howard Stern fan. I listened to you too,
so was I.
guys, but I was more of a Howard Stern fan.
I was too before I got in radio, to tell you the truth. Yes.
Are you going to bring back WOW?
No, I don't think. I think the WOW thing,
Why
the
not?
whip them out
time.
Wednesday.
Perfect.
It was
right back on the air,
Paulie. It was more suited for a younger shock jock than a 64-year-old conservative talker.
If you did it now, I guarantee you, it'd be a trend.
Well, it might make the news as they drag me away and put me in jail.
Paulie and Anthony are going to jail.
Yeah.
Sex.
But you're out in Westwood. You got something on the riots in California, Paulie?
Yeah, definitely. I just got off the phone with my cousin. Like, she's totally left wing, and her daughter is a cop, right? I say, you don't want the National Guard behind your daughter?
Yeah.
And she goes, absolutely not. It's going to escalate into more. I'm like, your daughter's on the front line, and she's like, no. I'm like, that's how far out these people are. That is amazing.
Can you believe that?
I'm like, you don't want nobody watching your daughter. She goes, nope.
Paulie, can you believe that your own relatives, but most of the people out there seem to believe that the National Guard is more of a danger to them than these illegal people that have come over the border, that are committing crimes on the daily, that right now are burning and assaulting and doing incredible damage to the people and infrastructure of Los Angeles. But they think the National Guard is the danger. They think this is like Kent State back in the 60s.
I know. That's our people.
72.
That's who protects us.
72.
And we're not if they don't want us protection right from, demonstrations. What happens when we go to war?
Yeah.
We're screwed.
Oh, please. We are not a country ready for any kind of real war these days.
Like if you look at New York today, New York's prepared. Did you see the parade? They're not allowed to be on the streets. They only had all the people that were watching the parade were on the street itself. Like
New York does have a great way of policing. What they don't do well is take care of the subways, the people that are there. When there's an event, they know how to deal with an event. They put out a massive presence of cops, and it's very difficult to do anything harmful in those events. But the day-to-day stuff, the subways, walking down the sidewalk, you'll get cracked over the head with a cobblestone from 1805.
I was in New York City Guard for 25 years.
Oh, jeez.
I used to work at night, and every night I loved going to work back in the 80s and 90s.
Entertaining.
I loved going to work because you would see something different every day, you know?
Yeah. I hear you, man. So, Paul, thank you, man. We're going to move on to, let's go to Steve. He's also in California. What's up, Steve?
Hey, what's going on, man? I just watched Karen Bass do a
embarrassing
press release, like live one. It's like, yeah, it's the federal government's fault. That's why this is happening. It's like, I don't think so. I think this is going to happen either way, but
yeah. Well, when you dump that many illegals into this country, tens of millions over the past 4 years alone, and then someone wants to clean it up, it certainly isn't going to be an easy thing, but you would think the people in charge would be for something like this. It's devastating your state, your communities. I mean, financially alone, it's devastating. But then if you don't even want to be the bean counter or you're only in it for money, people are being harmed by this, their livelihoods, their lives. And why wouldn't you, as someone supposedly representing the people, want to do something about it? It's all ass backwards.
Yeah, it's like NIMBY. It's not in my backyard for her sake. It's also for me as well because I don't live in L.A., but this also looks like I hate to go Alex Jones on you, but when did we see this last? Like you said, 2020.
Yep, 2020.
This amount of numbers, this amount of protest coverage.
You know, Steve, you're absolutely right. And another thing I've seen creeping up in the news, a new COVID variant that has just found its way into the United States. You don't think they can't even come up with new stuff to bitch about. They use the same playbook. You don't think in maybe a year or so, they're not going to start pulling this COVID thing and then the racism riot thing and the xenophobic thing. They always work the same playbook. So I think you're absolutely right. They're doing exactly what they did last time, 2020, and we'll see what happens.
America had a bird flu that no other country had. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Yeah, they don't seem to have any other plan. And we're on to it. We're on to it. No one with any piece of a mind is watching mainstream media and listening to their agenda, the same nonsense for years and years, and going, no, I'm still buying this. Oh, there are people doing it, but they're considered mentally ill, severely, profoundly mentally ill. We see it. But for some reason, they just keep pumping it out. And they think the same nonsense, the same bull is going to wash if they say it 30 times. And truth be told, man, we are on to you. We're not listening. We love the fact that Trump and company is sending the National Guard into Los Angeles to thwart these rioters. They're not protesters. Keep them in line because they're from the school of thought where give them an inch, they'll take a mile. You let them riot, they will riot. And it will just get worse and worse. And we've seen this happen in the past. And for Trump and company to finally step up and go, no, we're not going to just let this happen. We are going to do something about it and nip it in the bud, whatever you want to call it. And how, as an American, can you not be pleased with that kind of action instead of hearing them talk? Oh, we need to do this and that as cities burn. Ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. We'll be back with more of your calls and a lot more insanity with the Anthony Cumia Show.
77 WABC, the crown jewel of talk radio. Heard worldwide in 173 countries and all 50 states. WABC is committed to live and local radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. See what 77 WABC can do for you and your business. Call 929-552-7175 and advertise with 77 WABC. Coming up at 5 a.m. on the 77 WABC News Hour with Noam Layden.
An air traffic controller says he wouldn't fly out of Newark.
I personally am not going to fly out of Newark.
Why not?
Because I'm not satisfied with the level of safety.
That story and more, Monday at 5.
The 77 WABC News Hour.
Sponsored by Secure Cash, LLC.
Weekday mornings at 5 before Sid and Friends in the Morning. 77 WABC. Whipping out free speech.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
The Anthony Cumia Show, of course it is, on this beautiful Sunday evening. I am one of these people that love when it's light out at 8:30 at night. I'm looking out my window right now. It's like the afternoon. It's beautiful. I don't know why. Am I scared of the dark, Doc? But I do love this. I wish they would just put it in place for good. Because what do we got? What's the actual date here? The 8th? We only got another week or so, a little over a week before it starts going the other way again. And it starts getting darker. And I don't think anyone likes that. I really don't. Look, every single ding-dong week on this show, I have to toil. I paw through the news, the personalities, the stories, the embarrassments. And I have to come up with a person that we will dub Clown of the Week.
The Anthony Cumia Show presents the Clown of the Week.
It is one of the most difficult jobs I've had. I've been in HVAC. I've shingled roofs. I worked with a paving company for a while. Paving driveways, 100-degree temperature, tar. And the most difficult job I've ever had is now trying to pick a Clown of the Week out of the unbelievable galaxy of clowns that we have. This week, though, I think we can probably all agree that LA Mayor Karen Bass is the Clown of the Week. This woman is watching her city burn, watching foreigners, foreign invaders, as I see it. There are a lot of illegal aliens in Los Angeles County and the surrounding region. And she just wants to tell you how everyone is welcome. The crime rate has gone up. The violent crime and sexual crimes have gone up. The amount of money that the legitimate taxpayer, and I don't know what kind of insane person you have to be to live in Los Angeles, work a job, pay your taxes, as you watch your money go to foreign invaders that have crossed the border and watch your representatives shell that money out to them. And you just go, yeah, let me work another year. How much do you need? While I try to make car payments and rent and raise a family, you're going to dip into my pocket because everyone is welcome, regardless of if they go through the process legally or not? Well, that's your mayor, Los Angeles, Karen Bass. She has a knack for fire. She loves a little spark in life and almost burnt down your city. But here's Karen Bass, and she's talking about protecting these, she doesn't call them illegals, immigrants, from ICE. Let's listen, shall we?
We are going to fight for Angelenos, regardless of when they got here, whether they have papers or not. We are a city of immigrants, and this impacts hundreds of thousands of Angelenos.
Angelenos. First of all, I don't even like that. Sounds a little too Spanish. Los Angelesers, Angelenos. So she's putting them in the category that you are in. Mrs. Resident of Los Angeles. They're just another Los Angelino. So when she says that, she's pretty much flipping you the bird and saying, fess up. How many hours you put in this week? Well, that's this much money that we're going to get that I'm then going to hand over to another Angelino, because I consider everyone that, sets foot within the boundaries of your city to be legitimate citizens that deserve all of the things that are offered and paid for by the working people. And I know damn well California, and especially Los Angeles, has lost an immense portion of their population to people that have said, what? I have had it. I'm leaving. Austin, Texas is full of former Angelinos that have had it. By the way, also, don't know why you'd move to Austin. Austin is pretty much turning into Los Angeles. But why would you do that? Do a little research. Find a place that isn't just going to take your money and hand it over to what amounts to foreign invaders. These people don't want to be American. They're proving it. They're on the streets waving Mexican flags, assaulting American law enforcement, and Americans are backing them and sticking up for them and joining in the fray. And you got to ask yourself, what type of American does that? And they honestly believe they're being the American, what our forefathers thought. Migrants. Did you hear her? Did you hear Karen Bass? Migrants, immigrants have built this city. Angelinos are made up of immigrants, not illegal immigrants. And when you're at the point now, drive around L.A. I mean, look, like I said, it's a big city, and a lot of people visit L.A. They have business in L.A., whatever it might be. When you drive around Los Angeles and you look out your car window, driving down some of the most famous roads, Sunset, Ventura Boulevard, wherever you might be, do you see what it looked like during like Mannix or Cannon? Watch some of the old LA detective shows. I'm a huge fan. And when I watch Mannix, and you see Joe Mannix is in L.A., or Cannon, Frank Cannon in L.A., and he's talking to some guy, getting some info so he could get the skinny on somebody he needs to investigate. That city was amazing. It was just like any other American city. A lot of white people. A lot of... it would look like respect for America and law enforcement. I know it's a TV show, but they were filmed on location. Not like they just filled up a fake studio with people. This is what it was like. And now if you drive around, you would absolutely believe you are in Mexico. Yes, Mexico. And is that good? How is that a good thing? Well, people like Karen Bass might tell you it's a good thing because migrants and immigration was amazing and built our nation and contributed to Los Angeles. Yeah, to a point. Anything in excess is not good, even if you think it is. I know some of you are putting something through your head and go, yeah, that would be nice every day, 24 hours a day. It's just not. You'll chafe. You'll get chafing. Trust me. But a lot of people think, that the more the better, because immigration at some point in the United States of America was advantageous. At some point, bringing people from other countries to America to become Americans, to assimilate to the values of this country, to have similar ideology about what America is, was a great thing. Yes, of course it was. So if we do that times 10,000, it's going to be 10,000 times better. And if we get people that don't want to assimilate and don't want to be American and want to wave the flag of the country they're leaving, I mean, I've heard it 1,000 times this week alone. If you like it so much that you're waving the flag of the nation you supposedly left for a better life here in America, what are you doing here? Why would you wave a foreign flag? And this brings me back to something we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the South African refugees that came into this country. We saw the videos. They came into various airports and they were waving American flags. They all had little American flags, and they were fathers and mothers and children and what looked like grandparents. And they had to leave South Africa because they were being targeted for murder, which was sanctioned, or at the very least, they looked away, the government in South Africa. And what did we hear from the liberals? This is racist. They're only here because they're white. Oh, you wouldn't let Mexicans or brown people come in because... And then we see this. Illegal aliens and ICE and the Border Patrol are trying to get rid of them. And the Trump administration is all for it. And the liberals, the same people that didn't want the American flag waving South Africans, who have skills, who are farmers, who could contribute to any place they are put in this country and make whatever enclave they are placed in a better place. Those are the bad guys. The good guys are the Mexican flag waving arsonists, rapists, and murderers that this administration is trying to get rid of. And we're the crazy people. We're the people that you're yelling at like mental patients. How the hell did we get into this situation? How in the hell did this happen? John from Brooklyn, what's up, my friend?
Yeah, thanks. I lived on the border almost 15 years. So I'm back here in New York now.
God bless.
Yeah, the entire border from Texas all the way to San Diego. Lived on it for 10 years in San Diego. And I met people on the other side of the border who still want land back. They think that land was stolen from them, and they are fomenting on this side. So and some of them are in universities. So,
well, that's indoctrination centers, you mean, right?
At this point, yeah. That's why I'm more scared than ever that we're funding the universities. I think they're private businesses. Now on, none of them should get anything. Let them live like we do. But also, I met people on this side of the border who showed me the Americans. I'm talking about who had land grants dating back to the 16 and 1700s from Spain.
Jeez,
Yep, and they master's degrees that they had, and they were showing me their theses, and they never signed up to be part of Mexico. Of course, some of them wanted Spain out of Texas.
Right. I hear there was a little tiff back in the day about that.
Well, one of the worst ones, besides the Alamo, was before the Alamo, Gilead, where the Texans lost the battle and 300 of them survived, and they put up the white flag.
Yeah.
And they were all executed right to the man. They took
Look, John, let's be real here. Those days when they call white people colonizers and they've been on the same lands for 300 years, there's a limit to calling someone a colonizer. Back in those days, it was all about conquering and surviving. People just walked into someone else's land. It was awesome. It was set up. There were already buildings and plumbing and electricity, I guess. And they think like that's what they did. They stole the land. These people died for their land. They moved west in the United States. They got themselves a nice little place that they wanted to raise their family and farm. And they were there. Their families were there for a couple of 100 years. And then the insult of being called land stealers and colonizers, because this is the same thing that's happening in South Africa. For some reason, people believe every single white person in the United States of America has somehow stolen everything they've worked for, no matter if it was 300 years ago or yesterday.
I would like to say something on this word colony.
Yeah.
For many a millennia almost, for many centuries, the lands, let's say, of Algeria, along the Mediterranean, African lands, they were raiding and killing and pillaging and enslaving a lot of whites all along the Mexican, because those states were paid by the Ottoman Empire to get white slaves.
Right.
And it was so bad that France literally had to invade Algeria and colonize it just to stop them from taking all these French people and making them slaves.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what happened with 1812 with the English and Americans, and they were taking them off of ships and putting them in their military. At some point, you have to say, this has to stop. And for some reason, people think unless it's a white person, it's not that bad, when it's white people being enslaved. Look, every race of people has been enslaved on this globe of ours over some point. If someone's in power, they are going to enslave other people. This is just the way it's been. So it's not mutually exclusive to any single religion or race or people. But for some reason, like I said, in this country, America, there seems to just be this big problem with the fact that white people have done very well in this country, and the fact that we want our laws adhered to makes us horrible colonizers and whatnot. John, thank you so much. John from Brooklyn. I used to live in Brooklyn. It wasn't too bad. I lived in that Italian area. Where was it? Bay Ridge. And I lived there like in the late 90s, early 2000s. So it was awesome. The Yankees were on a tear. So I'd go to the bars, the local bars up on 5th Avenue and 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn. And boy, what great memories. Right up until a little date called 9/11. And then everything went to crap. I don't know what happened. Well, I know what happened, but I probably shouldn't speak of it right here, right now. Oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, look, we've heard many, many times that we are the oppressors and we are the people that have taken over and colonized and invaded. The borders are what they are right now. You could argue why they're there, if they should be there, but they are there. And our southern border is not to be crossed without permission. That's how it works. You can't just come here and decide you're going to be an American citizen. Try that anywhere else. Go to Mexico. Go to Mexico as an American citizen and just live there. Just live there. See how that works out for you. Someone eventually is going to come up and go, wow, what are you doing? It doesn't work like that. For some reason, America, because some idiot had to slap some plaque on the Statue of Liberty. Thank you. And thank you, France, for even that whole thing. The second most embarrassing statue in America, the Statue of Liberty. The first is that big fat woman in Times Square. The second most embarrassing is the Statue of Liberty because it's been bastardized into this thing. This, come on in. Anyone, we don't care. Doesn't work that way. We'll be back in moments. Stick around. It's more of the Anthony Cumia Show coming right up.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show. Coming up tonight on the Dominic Carter Show.
What comes now that President Trump and Elon Musk are feuding in full public view? That's coming up at 11 p.m. tonight with me, Dominic Carter, 77 WABC.
The views and opinions expressed by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect the policies or positions of WABC Radio, its management, or its sponsors.
We are united. 77 WABC, providing 103 years of continuous service. We are united. Since 1921.
You want the best for this country.
The most important things that the American people care about is what's going on in America first.
We are united. Continuing to serve as a leader in contemporary communications. We are united. 77 WABC.
America in New York is back.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Wonderful Sunday evening. We thank you for tuning in. A lot of discussion on the situation in Los Angeles, on ICE and the Border Patrol doing their jobs, thank God, and getting illegals, mostly criminals. A lot of people want to think, the funniest, Maryland dad. Oh no, another Maryland dad. Imagine how much of a propaganda machine you need to be as a news entity like mainstream media is in this country to call a reputed human trafficker criminal, illegal, alien, and God knows what else, and call him out of every name you could pull out of the hat to address this guy in your news story. It's Maryland dad. Get out of here. God, I hate these people. Maxine Waters. This woman, I'll give it to her. She's like as old as Methuselah. She is this just old, doddering, old, out of touch fool that she is. But, I guess it's a politician thing to have an instinct. Like it's just ingrained into their ROM memory. It's part of their hard drive. It's part of their operating system to know when something happens to get your face in front of a camera. They just know this. It's instinctual. And Maxine has been at this game a long time. So when Donald Trump and the Trump administration and law enforcement, Border Patrol and ICE decide that they are going to start taking down these illegals in Los Angeles, and it's going to cause a little bit of a fracas, and there's going to be riots and looting and arson and assault. Who shows up? Maxine. That's right. Maxine shows up with her James Brown wig and her stop sign red lipstick, and she will she will step up. And one of the things I wish, this is where I really wish this show had that video element, but we get by. But there is a clip making the rounds on social media. She walked up to one of the LA federal buildings that was being protected by real law enforcement. And she was like, I want to go in and see. I need to talk to I'm Maxine Waters. I'm using my congressional powers to get. This guy slammed the door in her dumb face. And again, when I was talking earlier about what I deem porn, that was fantastic to see this dummy who just wants her face on the news get a door slammed in her face by law enforcement. I could not have been happier. It's a great clip. She was asked, I guess, yesterday maybe, about if she had the chance to talk to Donald Trump, what would she say? And this was Maxine's answer.
Stop here, where the guns, I want y'all to take pictures of these guns and let people know that they're in our city with guns, and I'm sure they have orders to shoot and kill. I don't know, but otherwise they wouldn't have guns.
One question, Representative Ms. Waters, if there's one statement that a message that you can send to Donald Trump, what is that message here today?
My message to Donald Trump is you are a cruel human being, and that you're using the poorest people in the land, the most vulnerable people in the land, to promote your politics. You are wrong. We know what this is all about. We have people who are immigrants here who are trying
illegal
a better living. We've come from places.
All right, we could fade out of Maxine. The thing I found so funny about that, she goes, they have guns. I'm sure they have orders to shoot to kill. I don't know. So she literally goes, I'm sure they have orders to shoot to kill. I don't know. Well, are you sure? Or do you not know? They're the most vulnerable are they the most vulnerable? Yeah. Why are they here? They're illegally here. So again, I mean, this is leadership. These are the people that have been elected to represent the various districts of the state of California. And look where her priorities are on foreign invaders. We will be back in moments with a lot more of your calls and a lot more of the insanity and madness going on in the world as we continue.
The 77 WABC Advanced Site Contractors Chime Time is 9 o'clock.
For expert asphalt paving to full-scale site work, visit AdvancedSiteContractors.com. Serving the tri-state area. Call now, 718-984-7483. AdvancedSiteContractors.com.
From the crisis here at home to the chaos in Washington and around the world, in times like these, one station tells you the truth about what's going on. We are
WABC. It's times like these you learn to live again.
Entertaining and informative, and we've got the best lineup in talk radio.
It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time again.
Whipping out free speech.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
77 WABC.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Here's an interesting little tidbit from Donald Trump. Donald wants to bring back the supersonic transport. Remember supersonic flight? I remember that when I was a kid, when they first came up with the Concorde, the SST, supersonic flight. We're going to England in a little under 5 hours. Maybe it was 4 hours. Yeah, I think it was 3 hours and change, something like that. It flew at supersonic speeds, and it was looked at as this amazing luxurious flight. When actually the accommodations weren't all that good as far as space goes. It was very small, the Concorde, and but they did take care of you. You got gourmet meals. Every seat was first class. I would assume, I never took one, but I would assume the flight attendants were top notch, and the flight crew. I mean, the only one that ever actually had a mishap, which unfortunately killed a lot of people and destroyed the plane, was because something from a previous plane that took off on the same runway left debris that kicked up into the wing and the fuel tank of the Concorde. The plane caught fire, and it was a terrible tragedy. And that kind of was the death knell for the SST, the Supersonic Transport, the Concorde. It wasn't making a lot of money. I think regional flights were a big thing. Back in the old days, people wanted planes that could travel insane distances. I want to go from New York to Budapest nonstop, and that's what they did. Now, most airlines fly bigger planes to a hub, and then you fly a smaller plane to your final destination. But I like what Trump's thinking here, but I don't think it makes much sense. I love the idea of supersonic transportation. It seems like something we should have been doing, like the future. We're in the 2000s, 2025. Obviously, we should be winging around the world at supersonic speeds. But I think a lot of the problem was the noise. People don't like the idea of these planes breaking the sound barrier and making that crack, that sonic boom over their property. The other thing was environmental. For some reason, if a plane goes real fast, animals get hurt. I don't know. No, I think it was, again, the noise and the amount of room an airport needs to safely take off and land these planes. So that was an issue. But I think we probably in some way could have gotten around that. But here's what I think the biggest problem is. Do you really want screaming mental patients that we've seen on every flight from every airline over the course of the recent decade or so? Do you really want some mental patient animals yelling at you at Mach 2.04? I don't know. The cockpits are small. I brought up air travel and its comforts of past and what they are these days. And truth of the matter is, there's no place anymore in the aviation industry, the airline industry, creature comforts for people. People, they put them on like cattle. They want the cheapest prices possible. And they load in as many just garbage, paper thin, like school cafeteria chairs. Those are your seats. And even first class on most of the major airlines is nothing like it used to be. You're paying top dollar and you get one of those Delta Doggy Biscuit Biscoff cookies. If you're lucky, you feel good when you get one of those stupid ass cookies. So I don't think there's a market right now in our uncivilized world, our world of yelling people, throwing computers at the ticketing counter, walking up to the person that beeps you in when you give them your boarding pass and hitting them. There's no room for the amazing miracles of supersonic flight these days. You think I'm kidding? Prove me wrong on that one. We don't deserve the miracle of supersonic flight. I'm sorry. Just don't, it don't look like anything that we deserve right now in 2025. We're going to be back in seconds with more of the Anthony Cumia Show. Stick around.
You've got a voice, a big voice. Use it often. Sound off on Talk Radio 77 WABC. Whipping out free speech.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Welcome back. Appreciate your support in listening to this very program on this Sunday evening. Boy, a lot more going on. You know, obviously, while Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom and Maxine Waters fiddle, while California and, more importantly, L.A. burn, there are other things happening. So let's take a look at some other things going on. Of course, we all remember Jake Tapper he wrote a book the other that he put out, and he's been talking about it nonstop for quite some time. And all it is making excuses for the mainstream media. That's all he's been doing. Hey, we didn't know. No one told us Joe Biden was mentally unfit to be the president of the United States for 4 years. His entire term, he was not fit to be president. But because Jake Tapper put a book out, that kind of clears the slate for every reporter, which is silly to even call them journalists. Just don't even try to tell me anyone in the mainstream media these days is a journalist. They're professional liars. They are propaganda pawns for the left. But Jake Tapper put this book out, and now I knew this was going to happen, and you're going to see a lot more of this. A cavalcade of authors. Everyone's going to be an author now of a new book about their time in the White House or in the press, wherever it may be, that they had some inside information on Joe Biden and his lack of mental acuity for 4 years. But also, in these books, they will put in how they just didn't know. These are investigative journalists, reporters, and they somehow just didn't know. We all did. I guess I should have gone into being a reporter. I should have been a reporter, gone into journalism, because I knew during the 2020 campaign that Joe Biden was in no condition to run for president of the United States, never mind be the president. But we sat there and watched mainstream media cover for him, and the reason he's in his basement for a month and has not been seen was because of COVID, and then we just saw the 4 years of falling down and babbling and the miscues, mistakes, all of it. And we watched the media cover for this guy nonstop. Well, Jake Tapper put his book out, and now, who's next? Karine Jean-Pierre. That's right. The Shirley Temple-headed press secretary for the Biden administration. She would come out in front of the media, in front of that podium, and just lie lie. Everything she said, she'd open that binder of hers. Every question that was asked, she had to flip through those pages and come up with whatever the real presidents, and I'm sure there were more than one, whoever was actually filling that office, and they would all just listen to her and go, no one said anything. Peter Doocy was pretty good, but, without having to be a complete conspiratorial mental patient, I kind of think sometimes he was a psyop. What do they call it? Programmed opposition. I like that Peter Doocy guy. He's asking the real questions. And then at the end of Biden's tenure, you see Doocy and Jean-Pierre are just shaking hands and hugging and kissing. And you're like, what is this? Remember the cartoon, Warner Brothers cartoon, with the coyote and the sheepdog? And they would fight, and I mean, the rocks on the head and the rope with the noose and the pulling off the cliff. Just unbelievable violence upon each other, the entire cartoon. And then the whistle would blow, and they'd punch out, and they go, okay, see you tomorrow. That's what this is. And we all look at it like, yeah, go get him. Peter Doocy's really hitting her with some tough questions. All right, Sam, see you tomorrow. That's what we watched for that 4 years. And I don't know, maybe in hindsight, I'll see that that's kind of what we're watching during the current administration. I don't know. But it's, it all seems to be lies. So, Jean-Pierre, she put a book out called Independent. It's called Independent. She, here's her way of doing what Jake Tapper did. Jake Tapper, being a reporter, a journalist, he wrote his book and went into it as a guy that is explaining how the media was deceived by the Biden administration. That's how he went into it. And this is the way he can try to get the public's forgiveness for the mainstream media, which, by the way, sorry, Jake, ain't happening. We're on to you. You're liars. So Jean-Pierre's tack on this whole thing is independent. Hey, I saw things I didn't appreciate in the Democratic Party and in the Biden administration. So I'm changing my political affiliation to independent. All right. So are you just now crapping on the entire political party, the Democrats? You don't like it? Because that's what we were saying. That's what the reporters that really wanted to ask you real questions about the Trump administration were saying, or Biden administration were saying. And, well, let's listen to some of her own words here and hear why she backed out of the Democrat Party, went independent, and what her take was on when people said that Joe Biden might not have had the mental acuity needed to perform the duties of the presidency. Let's listen.
Hi, I'm Corinne Jean-Pierre, and I am the new book that's coming out this fall called Independent. It's coming out on October 21st, so please do grab it. And the reason I wrote this book, coming out of the White House, serving as White House press secretary was an honor and a privilege. But since I have left, the people that come up to me, strangers that come up to me just across the country as I'm traveling, and sometimes right in my neighborhood, at a grocery store, supermarket, airport, my daughter's school, the number one question they ask me is, Corinne, how do we get out of this? How do we protect our democracy? How do we protect vulnerable communities among us? What do we do next? Because we don't have answers here. That's what they ask me. And this is my answer. And what I mean by that is, in an era of misinformation, disinformation, the regressiveness of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. And that's what I've done. And that's what this book does. And here's the truth. And here's how I will lay it out to you.
Let's hear it.
I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan. And the way that I see moving forward.
All right. I've heard enough. I've heard enough. You could fade her out. By the way, given her affiliation, I would think thinking in boxes is something she does often. Anyway, I'm returning to my shock jock roots right there. Strangers ask her, how do we get out of this? That's what she said. Whenever I'm out, strangers walk up to me and their number one question is, how do we get out of this as a country? I guess really the vast majority of people that walk up to you don't say, did you know Joe Biden was completely mentally incapable of being the president? That's not the number one question you're asked. So she can't even be honest after she leaves as the press secretary, writes a book about her time as press secretary, denounces the Democrat Party and goes independent, and she still cannot be honest about her thoughts on Biden's mental acuity during his tenure as president of the United States. She can't be honest about that. They all have an angle, just like Jake Tapper. I just said, like, his angle was to try to defend the media, that they were lied to. Jean-Pierre's angle is, hey, people ask me, how do we get out of this? She won't even address his mental degradation during the time that she was the press secretary. Man, I understand. Look, I'm a Republican. I'm a Trump supporter. But I have been very honest about how I feel when I hear stuff from the Trump administration. And I don't believe it, or I think it's at least skewed, dishonest. But I'm not seeing anything to the extent I see with these rats leaving a sinking ship that we see coming out of the Biden administration. And there'll be more. What do you think? You could put a book out in a day? They're all writing books. They're all waiting for a little more time to go by. And they're all going to make bank, finally, maybe being 5% honest about what they saw in the Biden administration and how absolutely incapable Joe Biden was to exercise his abilities as president of the United States. We'll be back in moments. Don't go anywhere. The Anthony Cumia Show.
This is the Anthony Cumia Show.
This is 77 WABC Newsroom Extra.
PFAS, or forever chemicals, are a serious topic of discussion on Long Island, where many residents are concerned about the possible high levels in their drinking water.
I don't trust it.
Newsday TV reports that New York State has a drinking water standard of 10 parts per trillion for PFAS. The EPA recently adopted a stricter standard of 4 parts per trillion, which is set to take effect in 2029. But some potential lawsuits are hovering overhead with the damage PFAS may have already done. And Adrian Esposito, the executive director of Citizens Campaign for the Environment, is skeptical.
We have never seen, in the United States of America, have seen the federal
government roll back drinking water standards. If it occurs with PFAS, one of the most toxic chemicals we know of in our drinking water, it would be tragic.
Lisa G., 77 WABC News.
This is the Anthony Cumia Show.
Chili peppers, oh yeah. Like a rock jock. The Chili Peppers. Anthony Cumia Show. We do appreciate your support in listening to this very program. Just a crazy week of news. A lot going on. There's a couple of things that I say I do here on the show that I have to work so hard to figure out what is the best thing in a certain category. Of course, Clown of the Week, very difficult. There are so many clowns. The other thing is fake news. What the hell? I'm trying to find fake news, and it's all I'm seeing. So to sort out what fits as the top fake news story of the week, I have to work like a dog. But I think I found it in this week's segment of Fake News.
Now.
Fake news, folks. Fake news.
It's the fake news.
Fake stories.
News moment.
Oh, yeah. Someone that could have actually gotten the big duo, the Clown of the Week and Fake News, because he's always in contention, is Chuck Schumer. Chuck is a liar. I bash New York constantly because they keep voting in Chuck Schumer. This guy is holding the job like he's been entitled to it, like he has some kind of, like his great-grandfather entrusted this job to him for his entire life, holding it like a pope. Till you die, Chuck Schumer will have this gig. And all he's done, as he's been in office in New York, is help destroy New York State. And he is a tremendous liar. Anything Trump does is terrible. I mean, look, you got to figure the old, what is the proverbial, even a broken clock is right twice a day? You got to think Schumer would at least go, well, wow, Trump, I can't believe it. He got that right. But they're so partisan and they're so full of themselves and they're such liars that they can't even look at a situation and go, okay, maybe that is best for the country. People used to do that. There was an insane rivalry between Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill. These two were on opposite ends of the political spectrum, and we used to hear all the time about a bill that either one of them wanted passed, and they'd go to their people and try to get it passed, and eventually they'd come to a compromise, and a bill would get passed that I believe both parties felt was good for the country. I don't know. I was a kid. But we just don't see that anymore. We don't see either party working with the other side of the aisle at all. They won't even work with it. It's not even not working with them. They will just lambaste them. They'll criticize them. They'll call them Nazis. There's no rapport between each side of the aisle. And it's terrible because nothing gets done. I mean, you see it with the big, beautiful bill. We got a big, beautiful bill. And, you know, there are some things in there I think that are very good for the country, some things not good for the country. But to the Democrats, the entire bill stinks. I mean, could you work it out? Could you compromise? It's what they used to do. I compromised. I made grilled cheese on the radiator. So I don't know. They don't seem to be able to work with each other anymore. And Chuck Schumer is one of those people that will lie about everything. And his take on fuel, fossil fuel, coal, and the green energy is a lie. I mean, obviously he's a Democrat. He's trying to get money by pushing these green deals, green energy. And let's hear what he says, and then we'll talk about it. Here's Schumer talking about fossil fuel and green energy.
And for big oil. Big oil hates clean energy. Fossil fuel industry hates clean energy because they know it's the future. And they know it's cheaper, at least in terms of solar panels. Cheaper and quicker. So they want to kill it. But everyone knows America needs clean energy in order to meet demands moving forward. Nothing's cheap and quick to build as clean energy. We need 10 times as much electricity to continuing powering breakthroughs in AI and stay ahead of China. With their bill, the Republicans want to raise taxes on the domestic energy sources that are set to deliver more than 80% of the power, of the new power, in the next year. So let me be clear, if this bill passes, your electricity costs are going up.
It's lies. Blatant lies. If this bill passes, your electricity prices are going up. That's not true. It's completely dishonest. And when he says makes up 80% of new energy, that isn't 80% of our energy. We are still you look at a pie chart, it's just the vast majority of where we get our energy from. And over the past, I don't know, maybe 25, 30 years, we, as a civilized, technologically advanced nation, have figured out how to make energy out of these fuels much cleaner than the old days. We can burn coal, and it's cleaner than any clean energy that India has. I mean, we are at the forefront of clean energy. But they don't want to do that because fuel, oil, coal, natural gas doesn't put money in Chuck Schumer's pocket. It doesn't pay off the Democrat Party. Only the scam green deals pay them. That's where they can give contracts. I didn't even see that. Give contracts and make their money. We'll get into this a little more because I got some other things to say about Chuck Schumer and his lying. Truth be told, green energy, and the biggest thing, it's not transportable. You can't truck it across the country. We'll be right back after these words.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today. Don't let your retirement accounts get caught off guard by trade and tariff wars. Learn why a Genesis Gold IRA is the #1 choice for thousands of Americans across the nation. 800-235-1177. 800-235-1177. 800-235-1177. That's 800-235-1177.
WABC. The 77 WABC Advanced Site Contractors Chime Time is 9:30.
For expert asphalt paving to full-scale site work, visit advancedsitecontractors.com. Serving the tri-state area. Call now, 718-984-7483. advancedsitecontractors.com.
77
WABC
goes the distance. To entertain with the #1 news talk radio morning show in New York City. To inform with 77 WABC news updates every hour. To speak our minds with live shows focusing on local and national stories. To dance with Music Radio 77 WABC. We are the world famous 77 WABC. In your car, online, and at home. The Tri-State's most trusted voice. Talk Radio 77 WABC.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
They were doing what they were paid to do. Shock.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Welcome back. Let's go to Joaquin from Pennsylvania. Joaquin, what's up?
Hey, good Sunday evening to you there, Mr. Cumia.
Indeed.
Like my grandchildren, you can call me Opie. Anyway, you know something?
Yes, sir.
As Americans, we have been fed a banquet, a smorgasbord of anti-American fecal cuisine. And most everybody ate it up. They allowed it to be jammed down their throats.
Why?
And
why do we have to lay out this unbelievable picnic for everybody that wants to come here and then just bash us, trash talk us, try to change the country? And all we did was like open the border for some damn reason and allow them in to eat at the banquet.
Well, I wish it was the banquet of crap that we've been fed, but unfortunately it's not. You know?
Yeah.
And you know something else? Do you see Russian communist immigrants, Chinese communist immigrants, not the operatives, South African immigrants, or even Vietnamese? I had friends that fled Vietnam.
Sure.
You know, do you see them waving their flags from their original countries?
Never. Never.
I don't think so.
When we have people that come over to this country that are genuinely refugees or people that needed to just get away from an oppressive government, poverty, and actually went through everything that needed to be done legally to become an American citizen, the last thing they would ever want to do is wave the flag of their former country. But we get people that invade our country under a foreign flag. Well, that sounds like war to me, Joaquin.
Yeah, and you know, think about it this way, too. Everything's been a big lie that everyone ate up, okay? Just imagine, you know, when the white man came to the continental North America, it was just a beautiful, peaceful paradise. It was everyone lived in peace and harmony with an occasional child sacrifice thrown in, okay? And
that's funny.
They conquered each other just like everybody else did. The history of mankind has been those who conquer and those who have been conquered. And I don't feel like being conquered. And another thing we have to wake up and realize that there's been a constant struggle between Islam and Judeo-Christian civilization. And earlier, you know, somebody brought that up. We had the two wars with the Barbary pirates because they were capturing white people, and they had just as many white slaves in Africa as they had here. And here's the other interesting thing: if people really woke up and knew the history of slavery in Africa, that was basically the Muslims who were the main propagators, the vehicle, you know, behind the slave trade.
Yeah.
And it was the white man that ended slavery. And in the meanwhile, slavery has gone on in Africa and everywhere. They didn't care about your skin color over there.
You know what happened? You know what happened over the course of history, Joaquin? I think Western civilization got so advanced so quickly that people have this assumption that it was always like that. We all went through phases where conquering was a thing. Horrible wars and the need to expand your domain and all that stuff was part of what went on this planet. And we just happened, as Western civilized people, just happened to work it out where we were able to stop doing that for the most part. I realize what happened a lot of times, especially during the Cold War, proxy wars, it's still going on. But I mean, literally going over with a huge army and conquering another nation and planting your flag. That was something that is in the past, but it was part of how things worked. And people look at us now and think, well, you're all civilized and you have this great culture and great country. You need to share it with everybody because you were such savages just a few years ago. No, we just happen to get very civilized very fast. And we don't do that anymore, but we're certainly not just going to cough up what we earned by just doing what was done during those times.
Right. And New Yorkers are stupid for the most part. I'm sorry, but you know something? This guy,
you're right.
Ron Mandami, this guy is an Islamist, okay? He's a fundamental Islamist. He's Shia, okay? Just like the mullahs and the
yeah.
And he defers, you know, when they ask him about Israel, what he does is he defers to the international law and international criminal court, okay, so that he doesn't actually have to say. And he wants New York to submit, you know, to international law. So that's his way around it. And, you know, people in this country, we need to wake up and we need to actually become American supremacists. Because really,
American
was supremacists. The history of mankind.
What a great take on that, American supremacists, because that doesn't put race on it. It doesn't put any kind of religion on it. It's just, I want to be America first. And, that they don't seem to get it. And to think New York would be in a position where a radical Islamist would be up for mayor of New York City just, 25 years after 9/11 is insane to me. It's insane to me.
And not to mention the Hamas flag. How is that any different from the Nazi flag? I mean, what these people are doing over there. I mean, this is, you know, and that's the other thing. These people in Palestine, they're all for Hamas. I mean, Hamas is their army. And, you know, when you look at Hamas's charter, it says with these fundamental Islamists, their goal is ultimately there is no peace unless everyone submits to, you know, Islamic rule.
Islam, yeah. I mean, I don't think you'd be hard pressed to argue that point with anybody. I want Curtis Sliwa to be mayor of New York City. God damn it, let's do it.
Yep.
Thank you, Joaquin. Yeah, Curtis, he's our guy. He's all man. I love it. I was talking about obviously the inept, incompetent Joe Biden as president, and the fact that Karine Jean-Pierre, his press secretary, puts a book out called Independent. She's trying to make some money off of kind of dipping her toe in the water that she might have known some things. It's, you know, tell-all books. Those are the ones that make money. Tell-all book. Jake Tapper did it. She's trying to present this book Independent as, hey, I was on the inside. I'll let you know what happened. But Bill Clinton, yes, he still lives and breathes. He was on a great show. I watch it every day called The View. Have you heard of it? Cackling Hens. I used to watch a video of they had a chicken playing tic-tac-toe. And they'd feed him a little piece of corn, and he would peck at the screen, and it would put an X. And it was like, oh, my God, the chicken just won tic-tac-toe. This is now The View to me. I go, look, a hen is trying to discuss American policy. It's like the tic-tac-toe chicken. But they had Bill Clinton on the other day, and he was trying to talk about Biden's mental health and mental acuity or lack thereof. And they're just all, you know, swooning over him. And Bill, look, Bill's no kid anymore. He could barely utter a sentence without sounding like the blithering idiot. But let's listen to Bill Clinton talk about his view, his take when he would sit with President Biden and what he felt about Joe's mental acuity. Bill, can we hear from Bill?
Mr. President, I want to ask you, last time you were here, you were actually fiercely a defender of President Biden's when people were questioning whether he should stay in the race, and when he decided to step aside,
Whoops.
you praised his decision to do so. There have now been a lot of reports, books written with Democratic sources talking about what appeared to be decline while he was in the White House. Do you give any credence to those reports, or do you stand by your assessment of the former president?
Well, I think you have to pay attention to them, but all I can say is whenever I was around him, his mind was clear, his judgment was good, and he was on top of his brief.
That's right.
But look what...
my briefs were down.
Look at that debate, for example. What happened in the 10 days before his debate, and what were the White House staff thinking? He went to Europe, so why was that allowed to happen? So there's a lot of questions I don't know. All I know is I think we should think less about that and more about the future.
Oh,
we
the
now
future.
know President.
That's right.
Oh, crap. Okay, cut this off. Ugh. I don't know. But you see what they made him do? He went to Europe. He went to California. Yeah, he's the president, you dolt. So you're saying that he screwed up and sounded insane during the debate because they had him travel like the president has to do for, a little too close to the debate? Maybe, what were you thinking? Why would you have him do, president stuff? Yeah. Doesn't it make sense that he should be able to do that? Maybe in a crisis, he'd have to stay up for hours on end and fly to various places. There's a national disaster he needs to tend to at 4 a.m. Well, he's 80. I don't know. And all these bastards, when they sit there and go, hey, anytime I saw him, all of them. Then they have the caveat, though. Hey, anytime I was in the room with this guy, he was on the ball, sharp as a tack. The interns couldn't keep up with him. And then what happened when you watched the debate and went, oh, geez, we got to get rid of this guy. Oh, my God, this guy's a mess. They all met with him, and he was an amazing guy. Brilliant. And then when he went in front of the American people, they just cannot stop with the lying and covering. It's over. Why cover for this guy anymore? What good is it doing? We all know. So what good does it do? Bill Clinton, what is he, running for office? He goes on The View. Yeah. He goes on The View, and he can't just say, there were a couple of times where I thought maybe he wasn't quite right. You don't even have to go, well, he was just a blithering idiot. Can't believe it. He's talking he's just reciting lines from movies. What? Just say, yeah, he seemed a little off. Look, I was in no position to say anything, but they have to defend him. He was great, right on the ball. Came up with amazing nuclear fusion. He wrote it down for me on a cocktail napkin when we were sitting there. Nuclear fusion, just amazing. Oh, amazing. Who buys this anymore? Who's watching these politicians and going, all right. The term benefit of the doubt should not even be used anymore. Get rid of it. It doesn't fit in our Newspeak dictionary edition. Benefit of the doubt. Don't you have to earn the benefit of the doubt? So if you don't know someone is telling you the truth, 100% right to your face, Bill Clinton on The View, and you don't know for a fact that he's telling you the truth, why the hell would you bestow to him your benefit of the doubt? Well, I don't know if he's telling me the truth, but I'm going to assume he is because what? Don't go over and think, well, benefit of the doubt. I'll give him nothing but lie to you. They all have. It's time to stop just going and saying, yeah, I'll believe him. If you have an inkling of doubt, chalk it off as a lie. Because that's all these people do, is lie. Steve from North Kakalaki. What's up, Steve?
Yo, Ant.
How you doing, my friend?
I gotta say first, I'm so glad you're back on the air. Man.
So am I. Thank you.
And especially without that, I don't know what I can say.
It's what it is. The O&A show was a thing many years ago, and now we're doing this over here now.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, I've been on hold for a while. I was talking about.
I know. I appreciate it.
I called in about the immigration stuff.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about whatever. Go ahead.
Oh, it's insanity. What do these people think they're doing protesting, shutting down traffic on a major highway?
Mm-hmm.
What do they think they're going to accomplish? They're just pissing off every normal American citizen that just wants to live their lives. And then you're trying to go to work, and you have a bunch of retards just trying to get some stupid point across that no one cares about.
How does that help the cause? How does that make anyone sympathetic to what you're talking about when you're burning down things, you're assaulting law officers, you're blocking traffic to people that are actually paying the taxes that are going towards things that these people want to give to illegal aliens, invaders of our country. It makes no sense. I think they are all mentally ill.
Oh, they're mentally ill and they have nothing better to do, obviously.
Nope.
But have you ever seen the videos of those Just Stop Oil protesters? That's mainly in Europe and England, but they're the idiots that wear the orange vests and
they
sit
spray
down and,
paint on priceless artworks and things as such. Yes, I've seen walls. That. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just infuriating.
I've seen them. They try to. Sometimes they cement their hands to a roadway.
Yeah.
And I don't know one person that watches those videos and doesn't go, just cut his hand off. What are you doing? Cut his hand off.
If you get a chance, look it up. There was this German woman that was just got sick of them. And this German woman just started grabbing them by their hair and just yanking them off the street. It's awesome.
Yeah, and we watch these, and like all of us of minute, just any brain cell in your head, we watch that and go, yes, this is what we want. I don't know anyone that watches those and goes, oh, that's terrible. I've seen guys get out of trucks. It's great. They're sitting in their orange vests across the road holding hands, and a truck pulls up. A guy gets out and starts throwing them like so many sacks of concrete. And I'm laughing. It's fantastic. And we all want this. This is what we want.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, Steve, man. I appreciate your call, my friend. Thanks, man.
It was good talking to you.
Yes.
Have a good one. Bye.
Always. Thanks, bro. I guess I gotta continue. There's something up there. Oh my God.
What? I'm supposed
Guys
to hang
at the
up,
studio
aren't I?
gotta. Be right back in moments with more of the Anthony Cumia Show. Stick around.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show. Divorce isn't failure. It's a fresh start. The Staten Island law firm of Anjuli and Gentili, the fresh helping folks just like you for over 40 years. Walk with confidence. Call 718-816-0005 or visit aglawnyc.com.
Precision, performance, and professionalism. That's Advanced Site Contractors. Visit advancedsitecontractors.com. From expert asphalt paving to full-scale site work, they lay the groundwork for success. Have a BPP plan? They've got it covered. Serving all 5 boroughs and the tri-state area, they deliver quality that lasts on time and on budget. Advanced Site Contractors. Call now, 718-984-7483 or advancedsitecontractors.com.
Sid and Friends in the morning.
The right and the left.
The best talk every day and music on the weekends. We are the world famous 77 WABC. Whipping out free speech.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
The Anthony Cumia Show on this wonderful Sunday evening. Sandra couldn't get through a Sunday without a call from Sandra, New Jersey, talking about Chuck Schumer and the riots in California. Sandra, what's up, my dear?
Well, first, I have to say I look forward to talking to you all day, and that I take an oath it's the truth.
I look forward all week for you, Sandra.
Thank you. So I want you to know, I was in the library the other day, not the library, Barnes & Nobles, and I go to my favorite section, current events, history, and I see this book Chuck Schumer wrote. He writes, all anti-Semitism, the war against anti-Semitism. I'm asking myself, he wrote that book? What did he ever do? Have you heard anything about him trying to help all the colleges with all the stuff going on? Did you ever hear a peep out of his mouth about anti-Semitism? I didn't. So I wanted to bring that up because you said he's a little bit of a liar. So riots in California.
Yes.
Terrible. 1,000 people protesting. 2 hours later, they finally respond. Years. We went along with the administration, the Biden administration, letting all these people come here illegally. We didn't step in their way. We did what we had to do, just bite the bullet. And now it's our turn to get these people to go home and come back here legally. And we have to have Maxine Waters, and it's just not fair. So that bothers me. That
Sandra, let's try to. I was thinking about this today myself. We definitely didn't like what they were doing, and we made our point known to that. Did we burn things down? Did we assault people and murder and rob? And no, that's and God, I hate having to see low that goes, well, we're not going to do what tens of millions of foreign invaders into our country. Let's riot. Let's protest. Let's cause some problems that gets some attention. Why don't we do that, Sandra?
I hear you. I think, well, that's why Trump said, and that's why Tom Homan said, we're going to get the National Guards in there. If they're not going to cooperate and act accordingly, we're going to take it a step further. So yes. I'm happy about that. And then I wanted to say about Jean-Pierre.
Oh, Jean-Pierre, Karine Jean-Pierre.
She's a perfect example of a DEI hire, and it went wrong. And you know what I think? I think that she wrote that book because she wants to stay out of trouble. So
yeah, I think so.
Side a little bit, right?
Well, they also, Sandra, want to be able to do these news shows. That's their career. When they get out of these political circles, they have to go to various news agencies and get jobs there, making a lot of money, or they do this public speaking thing, and they need some type of credibility. So they have to kind of backtrack and call out the stuff everyone was calling them out for. So they can maybe think they have credibility, but she's done. I mean, no one's going to give her, as I said, the benefit of the doubt.
Right. And last but not least, I wanted to say, I hope to see you get more time on WABC because you're great. No, I'm telling you.
Thank you, Sandra.
So, and I hope that, and it will happen. I know.
I think it will, too. I think it will, too.
I agree.
Thank you, my dear.
So, thank you.
You have a great night. There goes Sandra. She's my biggest fan. I love it. No, I did. I had a great time doing Bill O'Reilly's show over the course of last week and whatnot. It was great. Like, I could, we'll talk. I think, as a matter of fact, I think my boss, John Katz, is going to be calling into my show after the 10 o'clock. Knows a hell of a lot about the Concorde, supersonic transport, British Airways. He was involved with some of this stuff. So as Trump talks about wanting to bring back supersonic transport, this fits. He's a guy that knows what he's talking about. And look, he's my boss. I have a boss. I know. Look, I could hear you guys laughing from miles away. Did you ever think, Anthony Cumia, after Sirius Satellite Radio and Mel Karmazin was my boss over at CBS Viacom, and then I did my own thing online for many, many years, and all I thought about was, I don't have a boss. And then I went and got myself a boss. The hell is wrong with me? But John Katz, he knows a lot about a lot of things. He's been around the block a few times. We were talking. What's that? I hear you. I'm talking to my earpiece. But yeah, he's going to be on top of the hour, and we're going to talk about supersonic transport. And until then, we will be back in moments. Don't you go anywhere. I'll come and hunt you down. We'll be back with a lot more of the Anthony Cumia.
The 77 WABC's Staten Island law firm of Anjuli and Gentili Chime Time is 10 o'clock.
The Staten Island law firm of Anjuli and Gentili, helping people just like you for 40 years. Walk with confidence. Call 718-816-0005 or visit aglawnyc.com.
WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays.
WABC.
This is New York's talk leader, the crown jewel of talk radio. WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays. News first at 59 past the hour.
77 WABC News starts now.
77 WABC News, 63 and scattered rain on this Sunday, June 8th. Good evening. I'm Liz Radabali. Over 20 people were arrested at immigration protests in New York City over the weekend. Dozens of demonstrators gathered at Federal Plaza in Manhattan on Saturday to protest ICE raids in the city. Some reportedly attempted to block an unmarked van leaving the area where a U.S. Immigration Court building is located. The arrests come as similar protests have sprung up in Los Angeles following immigration raids that resulted in dozens being taken into custody. Nearly 24 people are recovering in the city after a fire on their boat forced them to jump into the Long Island Sound. FDNY officials say it happened around 8 o'clock Saturday night in the Bronx near Hart Island. First responders pulled 3 people out of the water. One victim was in critical condition while 2 others were in serious and stable condition. 19 others were able to swim to Hart Island where a rescue boat came to get them. Local news reports say the operator of the boat was taken into custody. No word on charges or what caused the fire. The Mexican Navy ship that crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge May 17th is heading in for repairs. Lisa Ritchie reports.
Jonathan Anderschick with the U.S. Coast Guard says early Friday morning, a ship from Pier 37.
With the ship's captain and crew,
with marine surveyors, with tall ship experts to make sure that we have
a week ago. The New York Post reports a friend of that girl had tried to discourage her from going in because she didn't know how to swim. NYPD divers found her body after a week-long search. That same day, divers also found the bodies of 2 men. One was found floating near the Brooklyn Bridge, while the other was spotted near 34th Street and the FDR Drive. The medical examiner will determine the cause of death for each victim. Tenants are still not happy with proposed rent increases on rent-stabilized apartments in the city, despite a revised lower range. Residents sounded off at the first public hearing since the proposed tweaks were made.
Salaries don't go up, but the rent does, and that's not fair to rent-stabilized tenants.
The board lowered the range by 1% for 2-year leases, but tenants say that's still too high. Landlords, however, say they need the increase to keep up with rising costs of maintenance and repairs. Another public hearing is scheduled this week with a final decision coming in about 3 weeks. City Bike says it will lower the speed limit on its e-bikes to 15 miles an hour following demands by Mayor Eric Adams.
Calling the current 18-mile-an-hour speed limit an emergency threat to life and property, First Deputy Mayor Randy Mastro sent a letter to City Bike owner Lyft this week, ordering the company to lower the speed limit by June 20th. This a day after Mayor Adams proposed a new 15-mile-an-hour citywide speed limit for e-bikes. City Bike says it will comply. Mastro says since 2021, 11 people have died riding City Bike's e-bikes, and more than 1,100 have been injured. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
President Donald Trump is threatening serious consequences if tech billionaire Elon Musk begins funding Democrats. Trump made the comments in an interview with NBC News amid a public feud with Musk this past week. Trump said Musk will pay the price if he funds any Democratic candidates to challenge Republicans who support the GOP's sweeping budget bill. The president did not specify what those consequences would be. Trump went on to say he doesn't have any intention of speaking to Musk and assumes his relationship with the billionaire is over. Speaking of that feud, billionaire Elon Musk's net worth dropped this week during his feud with President Trump. According to Bloomberg, the Tesla CEO's net worth fell to $334 billion as of late Thursday. On Friday, Forbes reported it rebounded to nearly $400 billion thanks to a slight recovery in Tesla's stock. It's the second largest loss that Bloomberg's billionaire index has ever seen. Neuralink and the Boring Company.
Or Brood 14 have come out of hiding. You can find cicadas in 14 states, including Kritsky, a cicada researcher.
This brood especially, this is the first brood that was ever observed by Europeans back in 1634 in Plymouth Colony.
He says they dig out of the ground, shed their skins, mate, and then die. Most of you know them by their sound.
That call is, it's all about sex.
They hum to attract mates. Lisa G., 77 WABC News.
Coming up Monday morning at 6:25, host Sid Rosenberg of Sid and Friends in the Morning will talk with former Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. 6:25, Sid and Friends in the Morning, Monday here on 77 WABC. Now your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Desk. Overnight light rain with a low of 61. I'm Liz Radabali. News never stops at WABCRadio.com.
Tomorrow morning at 6:45, Sid Rosenberg goes one-on-one with former Hollywood executive Harvey Weinstein. The controversy, the courtroom, the comeback.
Harvey Weinstein's Me Too retrial.
Harvey Weinstein's sex crimes retrial.
The sex assault trial of former movie mogul Harvey Weinstein.
Sid Rosenberg goes one-on-one with Harvey Weinstein. Only on Sid and Friends in the Morning. Tomorrow morning at 6:45, 77 WABC.
Whipping out free speech.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Thank you for tuning in to the Anthony Cumia Show. It's Anthony Cumia. Apparently a show. I got my my ear thing in. Is John ready for the call, sir? Yes, put John on if you could, please. John Katz.
I am here.
There he is. How you doing, boss?
Good. I am older than you, so I remember those days.
Yes, well, you know, I'm not that much of a kid. I do remember the great old days of the Concorde, amazing airports like the TWA terminal at Kennedy, the wonder of flight. It was just an amazing thing. And now it just seems like, you know, trash. Whatever wants to walk on the plane wearing pajamas. But I was talking about Trump wanting to bring back supersonic transport, some type of travel like the Concorde was. And then I was wondering if you, being involved in British Airways terminal at Kennedy, was it, had any experience?
I've been in the aviation business for 40 years. I started back in 1977. The company that eventually became NetJets, I started the company along with Jim Jacobs. When we sold this to Santulli, that turned it into NetJets and then turned it into Warren Buffett buying it. We had like 48 jets at that time. And then Warren Buffett turned it into 800 jets.
So you were involved, obviously, you just explained, in the aviation industry, but I was talking about the supersonic transport, the Concorde, British Airways.
We're getting there.
All right.
That's the corporate jet part of it, and I used to fly all those jets. When I quit flying, I had 4,000 hours of jet time.
Oh, so you actually flew also. You didn't just business-wise own these companies. You flew jets?
Absolutely. And in 1983, we bought Capital Airlines, which was one of the leading airlines in the country in 1983, 84. We operated it. Our headquarters was out of Smyrna, Tennessee. We flew to Europe. We flew to the Caribbean. We flew transcontinental, San Francisco, Los Angeles. It was we had mostly in those days, and that's 43 years ago. My God.
Amazing.
And we had it was a great airline. Then what happened was People's Express entered our markets.
Oh, I remember People's Express. Yes.
Yeah, and now it's one of the big frauds of the day.
Right. Low cost air, and it was a total scam.
It was a whole total scam. They were cooking the books, selling cheap tickets, and at the end of the day, they kept losing a lot of money, but they made believe they were making money and keep raising a lot of public money, just keep growing.
Right, like Crazy Eddie, like Eddie Antner. He did the same thing. Puff up the books, make it seem like you got a great company, and you're taking money out of it, but no money's going in.
Nobody's going in. And eventually they all have to blow up. And
yes,
these guys just keep doing that because of the fact that sometimes they hope that a miracle will happen.
Right.
And they'll make it.
Somehow, what, you're going to win lotto and be able to infuse that money into your company? John, I got to ask you something, because obviously you've involved very heavily into aviation and the businesses. What happened over the course of the years that made it where it was so luxurious? It was amazing. The cart would come by and they'd carve off filet mignon to you.
Anthony,
what happened?
Let's start off first with the Concorde, because I was driving back from Long Island. I was listening to you all the way.
Thank you.
And you got my attention on the Concorde.
Oh, the boss is listening to me. Jesus.
and half the British Airways terminal at John F. Kennedy Airport was ours. So we had reciprocal agreements with British Airways. So it was Capital Airlines was our company, and we operated DC-8s, DC-10s, Airbus 300s, and I used to fly some of them, but not for. I didn't fly them for passenger runs because I wasn't qualified to fly, but I flew them on maintenance runs. You know.
Oh, okay, yeah. You got to take it somewhere for work. You would fly it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing with the other company. We called it United Jet Fleet before it became NetJets, and we flew. I used to fly them, but not on paid revenue flights. I used to fly them for our own flights. And now the Concorde, it went into production. I'm trying to remember, and I think it first flew in 1976, I believe. And
Bicentennial year here in the United States. Very big, patriotic.
It was a great airplane.
Yes.
It was a great airplane. It flew from anywhere from 61,000 to 63,000 feet. It flew at Mach 2.01 to 2.03, which meant twice the speed of sound.
Yeah.
And we made JFK Airport to London in 3 hours and 11 minutes.
Jesus.
And it made Air France would do it from New York to Paris in like 3 hours and 15 minutes at 63,000 feet. And it was a great airplane. And that technology is 50 years old.
Yeah.
So I am very, very upset that we have gone nowhere in 50 years. So President Trump, who I know for a long time, and he's always been in aviation. I've always been in aviation. He bought one of the shuttles, and he was operating the shuttle at one time from New York to
the Trump,
DC.
the Trump shuttle was
the Trump
huge.
shuttle. And I was supposed to buy the Pan Am shuttle, but that's another day.
So what do you think about this, though, that Trump
has not gone far enough in the last 50 years?
I think
the same thing with our space race. Our space race, we are trying to fall behind. And when they created the space shuttle, to me, knowing aviation and loving aviation, that was a big fraud.
I thought it was going to be the greatest thing. I thought it was going to be the greatest leap for mankind in space flight. It was. Nothing. It was a waste of time and money after Apollo.
And 50 years. And we went to the moon in 1969, and we haven't been back since.
No.
So technology has not moved anywhere.
But you know what? We've done, John, we've done a lot with autonomous and technologically. You see what Elon's done with the spacecraft that he could bring back, the booster, and it doesn't cost as much. And I think that's a big thing. But I think we wasted so much time and resources on the shuttle program and not just pursuing going to Mars.
Yeah, we did nothing in 50 years, which is so disappointing. And now that they want to create another supersonic transport.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Technology now is moving forward, and they're trying to be able to do it with no sonic booms.
Now, how do you do that? It's just, it's nature. If something goes beyond the speed of sound.
Maybe it's the design of the aircraft. Maybe I don't know. I haven't been up to it lately, but it's a very disappointing design because I looked into part of it. Those airplanes are not as fast as the Concorde, and they should be able to make them faster and better, and not just another, just nothing. I mean, I think New York, London on the new one is maybe 4 hours, which is, you want to be able, you can do hypersonic jets right now, and you can do New York, Hong Kong in 3 hours, 4 hours.
Oof.
Now that's technology.
That's insane,
and we should be at that point. We should be at that point right now.
Why aren't we? What happened?
Well, back in the 1950s and 60s, where we started to design
the good old
those
days,
airplanes,
John.
we had the German scientists.
Yes,
the German scientists, the German Jewish scientists, were so much more advanced than our people were.
They were a smart bunch.
When they died off, guess what?
We got nothing.
We got nothing.
Yeah, Operation Paperclip really did help our aviation industry and our the military as far as rockets go. Obviously, I mean, Werner von Braun was the key to the Apollo space program. And there just doesn't. So where are these? And I think Elon Musk is brilliant, but I think it's more the people he hires, and we don't have that one person that just knows so much about this that can put us over the top anymore.
That is the problem.
Yeah,
that is the problem, and we need good leadership. Look,
yes,
Trump is a smart guy. I think he's on the right track. I'm 100% supportive of him.
Absolutely.
And Elon Musk, he's a smart guy, but he sure, even his father said, I don't know if you saw the article.
I did, yes, I saw that today. Yep.
And my comment on the article was, father knows best. From the old days.
Yeah, your father knows.
He should quit. Look, Elon Musk doesn't need the drugs. He doesn't need the alcohol. The one thing you know about President Trump, he doesn't do alcohol and he doesn't do drugs.
Right. He's a clean guy. I love him.
So I'm betting on Donald Trump. Well, the way I say it, excuse me, you need a strong United States president to save the free world.
Yeah.
And
always. It's always been that way.
That's what we're doing.
And that's what we're doing. And it's not an easy job, and it's not something embrace. And that's what we're seeing now. It's not easy to change the course of a country that has been on the wrong path for so many years. So Donald Trump can't just do this and make people think, Anthony, everyone's going to like this. It's not the way it is.
If Harris would have gotten elected,
oh, God, please.
I am scared crapless.
I can't.
This country would not have made
I have nightmares.
76.
I got nightmares thinking about that. Oh, my God.
I mean, it was so bad.
Yes.
I mean, we were being invaded.
Yes,
I have
literally.
Question. Yeah, immigration, yes. I was vice chairman of Ellis Island. I worked with Lee Iacocca on Ellis Island Foundation.
Hey, Dodge, I remember him.
With Bill Fugazi on the Ellis Island Foundation. And we believe in immigration. Immigration, yes. Invasion, no.
Legal merit-based immigration, I think it is a wonderful thing for this country. It has fallen so far away from that that we are just letting in people that are so detrimental to this country.
Why? Yeah, I can't understand why. I can understand if they snuck in migrants that wanted to work hard, like Ellis Island.
Yeah, there you go.
My father came through Ellis Island. Don't forget, we wanted. His two brothers had to sign in a dotted line that if he didn't pay the bills, his brothers would sign them.
Yeah, cosign. Yeah, they had a cosign for people.
Letting these migrants in and letting the criminals in.
Yep.
What was the Biden people doing? We have to find out who at the White House was pressing those buttons, allowing criminals into our cities, our states. I can understand inviting the migrants in because what the Democrats wanted, they were falling short of congressional votes.
Right.
In New York, Illinois, California. So they brought in the census, congressional votes.
Yeah, they need the census to show that there's people that are Democrats. That's the only reason they were doing this.
But Anthony, bring in the migrants that want to work hard. Why bring in the criminals?
I guess because they could make it seem like they're catering to the criminals and the criminals will vote for them. I don't know, John. It's insane.
Crazy.
It's an insane
crazy.
thing. It's so destructive to this country, and all they do is crow about how they're pro-American and how Trump is a Nazi and he's a fascist and he's destroying this country. And all they've done is attempted to destroy every aspect and every institution that makes this country great.
They tried to destroy America.
Yes.
They tried to do it with invasion, not immigration. They tried with fentanyl. They were killing 100,000 Americans a year.
Disgusting.
And what they're doing to our institutions.
Yep.
Like there's 400,000 Chinese students, but you know who puts them in? The Communist Party, and they pay their tuition. And if they don't obey the Communist Party, guess what? Their mother dies. Or their father dies.
No, they're brutal over there. Do you think, John? Do you think we're somehow at war with China right now? Because I think we're at war. Maybe there aren't missiles and bullets flying, but I think China is warring with us. They steal our intellectual property. They deposit fungus and diseases upon the world. Why the hell isn't the rest of the globe attacking China? Maybe not militarily, but economically and every other way, or maybe militarily. I don't know. It really seems to me like China is at war with us and we're doing nothing about it.
This is a different kind of war.
Yeah.
This is an economic war. This is invasion versus nuclear bombs. What they wanted to do, what they want to do is take control of our country without anything.
Right, without firing a shot.
And the American people, I don't understand the Democratic Party. You know what I say on my show? I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're Republican. You should want the best for America,
for the country. That's being pro-American, right?
And the same thing in New York City, New York State, New Jersey. What's best for our state? What's best for our cities? And it's just horrible what's going on.
You're right. If I see a Republican doing something that I feel is detrimental to my county, to the city, to the state, I don't care what the party line is. I'm going to say this is not good for the people of this county or community or city or state. And for some reason, we've gotten so jaded where it doesn't matter. If it's your party, you have to back it no matter what they're doing. And that's destroying this country.
And then let's take these smart federal judges. What the heck are they doing?
Oh, destroy again.
They're supposed to be smart guys. The Democratic U.S. senators. I said the other day, why do you want the criminals to come back?
Yep.
Why? I don't understand it. Are they American? Are they Americans, or are they on somebody else's side?
It makes no sense, John. John, you know that you own this station, and you know that we have to take breaks, right?
Well, you got to take that break when you got to take it.
I hear you, my friend.
But I enjoyed talking to you, and let's do it again soon.
Let's do it, man. I love it. We'll be back with more of the Anthony Cumia Show in moments.
This is the Anthony Cumia Show. The Relentless Patriot has just been released on Amazon Prime.
The recipient of this year's VFW Americanism Award, Mrs. Scott Labedo.
That's it. I want to paint a flag on a rooftop in every state near a military base. God didn't give me a gun and a bayonet. He gave me paint and brush, and I will fight for this country.
The Relentless Patriot. Watch it now on Amazon Prime.
Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down.
Don't let pneumococcal pneumonia break your stride. If you're 50 or older, you're at increased risk. So be proactive with Capvaxive pneumococcal 21-valent conjugate vaccine to help protect against invasive pneumococcal disease and pneumonia caused by certain types of pneumococcal bacteria. Capvaxive helps protect against the strains of bacteria that cause about 30% more IPD cases than any other pneumococcal conjugate vaccine in adults over 50, according to national-level CDC stats. Regional variations may exist. Don't get Capvaxive if you're allergic to the vaccine or its ingredients. Tell your doctor if you have a weakened immune system. Common side effects include injection site reactions, feeling tired, headache, muscle aches, and fever. Capvaxive does not protect against all strains. For more information, call 1-800-927-8888 or visit capvaxive.com. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Capvaxive. Need help paying for your Merck vaccine? Visit merckhelps.com. Sponsored by Merck.
28:30, right?
This is the Anthony Cumia Show.
Hip, hip, hip. Anthony Cumia Show. Welcome. Oh, it's my boss. It's on the phone with my boss. It's so funny because everyone that knows me over the course of, oh my God, it's got to be 60, 70 years in broadcasting. All right. No, it's quite some time. I have never gotten along with my boss. and you all know this. I mean, I'm not a boss guy. And it's not even because I'm obnoxious, or I am obnoxious. But it's not like I hit back at the boss or anything. I don't do that. I just kind of like being left alone, you know? I don't even like acknowledging that I have a boss or anything. But John has been so great during all this. The fact that I got the job is a miracle. So, you know, that alone told me, wow, that's kind of awesome. And I think we got to take another break, don't we? Hello?
WABC. The 77 WABC's Staten Island law firm of Anjuli and Gentili chime time is 10:30. For 40 years, the Staten Island law firm of Anjuli and Gentili has been helping people just like you. Call 718-816-0005 or visit aglawnyc.com.
Coming up at 5 a.m. on the 77 WABC News Hour with Noam Laden.
An air traffic controller says he wouldn't fly out of Newark.
I personally am not going to fly out of Newark.
Why not?
Because I'm not satisfied with the level of safety.
That story and more, Monday at 5.
The 77 WABC News Hour.
Sponsored by Secure Cash, LLC.
Weekday mornings at 5. Before Sid and Friends in the Morning. 77 WABC. Promoting free speech 24/7. This is Talk Radio 77 WABC.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
They were doing what they were paid to do. Shock.
Former shock jock Anthony Cumia. Anthony Cumia Show. Yeah, John. Oh. The guy, like, I'm talking about Trump wanting to, you know, maybe get the supersonic transport, the kind of a Concorde type plane that could get us around the world in record time back. But again, I think, you know, I think it's naive in 2025. And then John is like, oh yeah, I was involved with that in British Airways and I flew planes. And I did. God, what have I been doing? What a slouch. I'm a slouch. But, yeah, I think Trump's being a little naive with that whole thing. We're not in a time and place right now for that. We were in the late 60s, early 70s. We were at an amazing place technologically, and with archaic technology, we were at an amazing place technologically. You would think, or anyone would have thought, in 2025, we would have been like sci-fi movies, like that level. But we went in another direction. The 60s, 70s technology that got us everything from the simplest satellite communications to us being on the moon to putting up the GPS system, and that was through the 80s and 90s and still to this day. And then continuing with Elon, with Starlink and high-speed internet, no matter where you are on Earth, we had that technological bump. And then we went somewhere else. We took a fork in the road, and I think, I'm not sure what it was. It involved technology, but not to the extent of supersonic airplanes and rockets that could take us to Mars. And we went like, how can I tell someone I don't know that they suck? That seems to be what was most important. How can I tell an actor or a musician that what he's doing is absolute garbage without having to write a letter? A couple of clicks off an amazing flat device that I hold in my hand. Screw the moon, screw Mars. I want to tell people I have nothing to do with, in the middle of their conversation, where I'm not involved, that everyone speaking is a piece of crap. That's what we decided to do. That's the technological turn we took. And I couldn't be prouder as an American that we went in that direction. Here is a woman. I know. Maxine Dexter, her name is. She's a congresswoman. Don't say congressman. Congresswoman from Oregon. And she wants to talk about welfare and how terrible the current administration is at doling out money and food and shelter and everything to people that just can't seem to afford it. Now, look, I'm not an ogre. I'm not a guy that thinks that people should go hungry in this country. I believe there are people that fall through the cracks. That was a term. That fall on hard times. I get that. But I think the vast majority of people that are utilizing the welfare system in this country are doing it dishonestly, let's say. Dishonestly. I think a lot of people are absolutely capable of working, of not sitting in a wheelchair because they're obese. There's a lot of things that are going on these days with people, and they collect disability and all kinds of money. And that money comes from somewhere, and it's us. It's the people that work. Look, I know I'm talking on a microphone, but I'm pretty good at it. And I did work for a living. I was in HVAC. So stop. I hear you bitching. But a lot of these people are very capable of supporting themselves. And they just want more. They just want more. And some of these representatives around the country, they've taken it upon themselves to become a champion for the lazy, the criminal, and people that they don't want to work. They just want to get paid for sitting around and doing nothing on our dime. Yes, our dime. So listen to the words of Oregon Congresswoman Maxine Dexter as she talks about welfare and the troubled people that she describes in this clip. Listen to this, because she talks about the troubled people that we, as Trump supporters or Republicans or just people that don't want to keep feeding freeloaders, she talks about them and she's describing real Americans that have problems. These are lazy people. Oh boy, here we go. Let her rip.
I want to share a story of Rita, Portland, who wrote into my office claiming if federal food assistance was cut, she will have to choose between buying groceries and paying rent.
Oh, like everyone.
Buying groceries or paying the electrical bill. This is not an unfamiliar story for me as a physician who heard my patients struggling with similar choices. And the cruelty of this bill is not just unconscionable, it is heartless. We are talking about real people battling hunger. 1 in 6 community members in my district rely on SNAP. Seniors, children, veterans, and people with disabilities will go hungry. And food stamps aren't a handout. SNAP helps veterans who served our country, neighbors with disabilities.
What percentage?
Feeds seniors on fixed income and families with young children. Most of these people have faced unimaginable odds and have nowhere else to turn. We cannot turn our backs on those who need us most. This is a moment for moral clarity. Not one person in this country should go hungry. Not one person should be left behind.
I agree. No one in this country, legally here. No one in this country should go hungry. And I will say this, and some people, I've always gotten flack for saying this. No one starves to death in America. We're a country of 300 and some odd million people. We are a huge nation. No one starves to death in this country. Look it up. You don't drive down the road and go, oh, look at that. Here's someone just ran out of food and starved to death on the side of the road. There's hunger in this country. I get that. There's malnutrition in this country. But it is one of the most amazing things on earth that no one starves to death in the United States of America. And that isn't because of SNAP. It isn't because of welfare. That is because of caring, empathetic. We live in a community that will get together to feed the hungry in their neighborhoods. And this has always been the way Americans have lived. We don't turn our backs on legitimately downtrodden and hard luck people. If people want to better themselves and work and make money, we don't turn our backs on them. We lift them up. We're inspired by people that have been through so much and still have this will to do in the same category as illegal invaders that come here and just want to sap off the system, or obese families of a mother without a father, 9 kids, they're all overweight, and they're crying and screaming that the government isn't giving them enough. I have no sympathy for that. I just don't. Yes, there are genuine hard luck cases and people that need assistance. And the majority of those people in the United States get taken care of by their community, because that's how great America is and Americans are to people that they see like that. They want to help. Americans want to help people that genuinely need help. They don't want to give their hard-earned dollars to people that are freeloading off of them. It's that simple. And when you have representatives in government that are telling you you need to reach into your pocket and give money to people that are just being lazy or don't want to put themselves on the books so they have to pay taxes, or they're here illegally, I can't come up with a word I could possibly use here on amplitude modulation, FCC regulated radio. But I think you all know what the dilly is, if I may speak like the kids. It's crazy. And then you get like Congresswoman Maxine Dexter. There are different categories of people in this country that they're lumping together. I really, amazingly enough, people, you know me as a piece of garbage. Hit the road. Hit the bricks walking, sister. That's Anthony Cumia. But deep down, Anthony Cumia is a good fella. I like helping people that genuinely need help. If I think for a second you're being a freeloader, I could not be done with you faster. And that's the American spirit. That's how we are as Americans. Don't lie to us. Don't tell us we have to pay for people that are lying to us because some lying politician tells us that's what we need to do. It's disgusting. Let's talk to Rex in Florida. Rex, what's up, man?
Hey, Anthony, how you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for asking.
You earlier, real quick, you talked about the street takeovers.
Yes, in California.
Street takeovers very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly, we could end them. Make it illegal to own a Dodge Charger or a Dodge Challenger.
Oh, dude, I understand what you're saying wholeheartedly. Have you watched the videos online of the people that are walking in to Dodge dealerships to buy some of these Hellcats? And
yes.
They don't have what they used to call a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of.
Continuing to
Oh, there's something going on in the background there, Rex. Yeah, and then they're trying to get credit for these cars, and they're just their credit rating is probably a 200, and they want this car so bad. You are absolutely right, and I think the cars are kind of nice, but you wouldn't catch me. Well, you might catch me dead in one if I got in front of one during a street takeover, but. Yeah, I couldn't. They have such a stigma now. I said stigma that I would never buy one. Thanks, Rex. Let's talk to. Well, we got a couple of calls here. Steve from Manhattan, New York. What's up,
Anthony? Your
Steve.
Conversation with the big cat was Nixon Frostoni, that was great. Let's juice up the SST so we can fly the invaders in here quicker. But Big John,
get him out quicker. Put him in the SST. That thing will be down to El Salvador in 1 hour 15.
That's it. And the other jets we could fill up with cash for them. But you know what? I broke it on another show, but I wanted to break it on yours, but I couldn't get through. You're busy, kid. But
busy guy.
Jean-Pierre would roll into the White House at high noon. Yeah, I mean, it's perfect with Biden as the boss, right? But there was a reason why, because in the morning, Jean-Pierre would set her hair with a pack of firecrackers. Now, sometimes she would get the effect that she wanted. You would see it.
Right.
But a lot of times, you could have the fire trucks pulling up and people thinking, calling the people playing.
Sure,
the
fireworks. They're seeing sparks. I get it, Steve.
Yeah. And also, I like to tell people, the judges, some of these federal judges are foreign born. This is like you guys. That was a great conversation. That's got to be put on the internet with you and John.
Good. Thanks, Steve.
No, it is. No, it's excellent. You're both smart guys. That's true. But the thing is, people have to realize we don't move forward in this country. We had kids who could qualify for MIT. We didn't let them go because they were white kids. Let's face the fact.
Yeah.
Stanford was the same way. The 65 Immigration Act stunted the growth of technology inside this country.
Yes.
We should be way advanced than we are. You know, Ant?
You know, Steve, and let me say something about what you said about the judges. What are the odds when judges are supposed to be completely politically impartial and just take the rule of law into consideration when they make decisions? What are the odds that only Democrat judges would rule against Trump, or even the other way? Look, I'll say it, Republican judges ruling against a Democrat administration. Like, what happened where these people are so attached to their party that they won't make a unbiased decision anymore?
Well, you just nailed it. They're people, they are left-wingers, they're political advocates. And let's face it, look at all the big things that we got that it came down through the courts. Abortion came through the courts. I know there was states like New York and California was legal in before Roe Wade, but still affirmative action, forced busing, all kinds of crazy things. Ending the death penalty. They did bring it back with Gary Gilmore. They blew his head off. But the bottom line is these judges are left-wingers, and they have no intention of really looking at the Constitution. They just rule the way they want to rule. People have to realize they're left-wingers. A lot of them are foreign-born, and it's about time we take our country back in.
Well, you know what the problem is they want to separate the branches of government, executive and judicial, when it suits them. But then they want the judicial branch to be able to have power over Trump when they want something to not go through, like the immigration stuff and whatever else Trump is doing. So again, there's this hypocrisy going on, and we need to really put the line in the sand between what the judicial branch and executive branch are supposed to be doing and what powers they have without being not influenced. I understand how you can be influenced by each one, but one can't take over the other, especially when a judge tells the president he can't do something that is absolutely within his power.
Correct, because we have three branches of government, but with these federal judges on the district courts or whatever court of appeals, they are judges who are advocating a total left-wing policy.
Yes,
in this country.
left-wing agenda.
They are doing this to obviously Trump and his agenda because they want to stop it. The left wing, their motto always was use the system to destroy the system.
Yes.
And basically, they were talking about the court system, and they've done it. Like I just brought up a few things before of what they got through the courts that they could never bring to the American people. American people would have never voted for this invasion.
Never. It's I don't know how some of these people are in any position of power when every single American goes, no, we don't want this, except for the fringe mental patients. But the majority doesn't want it. But for some reason, it becomes the norm. And we have to deal with this? No. Steve, thank you, my friend. Leave Manhattan. Come down to South Carolina. What's wrong with you? There goes Steve. All right, we'll be back to wrap up the Anthony Cumia Show in moments.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show. Coming up tonight on the Dominic Carter Show.
What comes now that President Trump and Elon Musk are feuding in full public view? That's coming up at 11 p.m. tonight with me, Dominic Carter, 77 WABC.
77 WABC, the crown jewel of talk radio. Heard worldwide in 173 countries and all 50 states. WABC is committed to live live and local radio, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. See what 77 WABC can do for you and your business. Call 929-552-7175 and advertise with 77 WABC. The Lincoln Tunnel and 77 WABC. Both are real New York.
ABC.
Whipping out free speech.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Another great Sunday evening with y'all. I am in South Carolina. Y'all. For the people in my former hometown of New York City, I ride a tight line here between hating you for voting in these imbeciles and feeling so bad that you have to live with your terrible, terrible decisions. I have family and friends that live in New York City, and I just feel terrible for them. But it seems like New York keeps making the same mistakes over and over. Kathy Hochul is the governor of New York State. And regardless of what state you're from, wherever you're listening to this program from, this is a warning. This is a warning to you. You vote in the wrong people, you are voting away your God-given rights. And the big two, as I see it, yeah, I know there's more. The fourth is a biggie. I get it. But 1 and 2, coming in at number 1 and 2 with a bullet. It's freedom of speech and shall not be infringed. Hi, I'm Casey Kasem. And these are the two big amendments. It really is so important that we have the freedom to speak, voice our minds, voice our opinions, and back it up with some lead, as Greaseman used to say. Yeah, I'm slinging the lead. And when you listen to Kathy Hochul, I lived in New York for most of my life. Took a few treks to Boston for radio and came back to New York. But the problem with New York has always been the infringement on your right to bear arms. New York has been one of, but I think it's the worst state possible to try to exercise your Second Amendment right to bear arms. When I finally got my pistol permit in New York State, it took about a year, just under a year, 9-10 months. And I had to jump through hoops that you wouldn't even, the founding fathers would have pummeled the person giving me the forms I had to fill out to exercise my God-given right to bear arms. And it just doesn't stop in New York. So let's listen to Kathy Hochul talk about gun control in New York. Let her rip.
Hey, New Yorkers, do you know your state is home to the toughest gun laws in America?
We know.
And they're working. Every year since I've been governor, I've been working hard to get guns off the streets. Stop those ghost guns that people can make in their own
ghost guns
and make our streets all over the state much safer. But Republicans in Washington, they refuse to take strong action. So we're going to continue calling on them to step up and protect Americans from gun violence. Today, I join millions across our country to wear orange to bring awareness. There are victims and survivors all over our country who are waiting for Washington to take action like New York did.
Like New York did and infringe totally on your Second Amendment rights? I go to New York. I hate it. I fly up to New York probably once a month, and I have to leave my best friend behind. My best friend, my pistol. I love carrying a pistol, and I can't take it into New York. I'm trained. I have a permit to carry a concealed weapon, and for some reason, New York doesn't want a citizen to have that, but they just let people out of jail that are arrested on weapons charges that have no business having a gun. Convicted felons, people committing crimes, caught with a weapon as they're committing crimes. And she thinks that makes New York safer by having citizens that might want the best tool available to them to protect themselves and their families to not have guns. And then I walk into Times Square and I see Kathy Hochul. She put up these signs that say Times Square is a no-gun zone. Well, I'm sure the thugs and criminals that use guns for their business are so happy to comply with those rules. It's disgusting how supposed representatives of American citizens can tell you you cannot exercise your Second Amendment rights somewhere when they have a policy of no bail, just letting people out. Real criminal, hardened, violent criminals are allowed out of jail. And then they tell you, hey, gun, you protect yourself with the best tool available? No. Imagine you're a carpenter and they tell you you need to use a rock instead of a hammer because we essentially have control. For more of do appreciate your support. See you next week.
This is New York's talk leader, the crown jewel of talk radio, WABC.